Hey guys, it's Steven here and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to take a very optimistic, very positive and very interesting look at my Manchester City Dream 11 for the 2020-21 season. There's absolutely loads of caveats to add to that before we get into the video, but before I do that though, I want to say thank you to my latest Patreons, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany, and these three wonderful people have jumped in and supported my channel. Dara Revel, Dara, thank you so much. Prutvika Paraju, hopefully I pronounced your surname correct there, and your first name, Prithvi. Thank you so much. And Ahmed and Prithvi are both in the $10 tier, so we'll be getting access to some glorious bonus videos for this month. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting this channel. It means an awful lot to me. And as of Monday, your names will be in the credits of the video. Don't worry about that. Thank you so much. Patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany if you want to join the crew as well. But today we're going to talk about a potential Dream 11. Now, there are caveats to this video. I'm going to try and go through loads of different variations of the team with all signings if we make them, all the squad in general, a bunch of different formations as you can see below. And also the caveats are as follows. I'm going to presume these things happen. Garcia, Otamendi, and maybe Zinchenko go. I'm going to presume they happen. I think it's pretty obvious that Garcia probably will end up going. Otamendi probably will end up going too. And Zinchenko maybe on loan, maybe. He might stay, but I'm going to presume he goes. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sorry about that. Secondly, City don't sign a new left back. There's no links as we're currently watching this video. I know we may want a left back. You may want a left back. But at the moment, it looks pretty quiet. And there are rumours that Angelino could come back. So that's the second presumption. The third presumption, City don't sign a new striker. Largely, I do want Manchester City to sign a new striker. I have severe fears that Aouar could be a little bit different this season due to his meniscus injury currently. But I'm going to presume we don't sign Lionel Messi, unfortunately, guys. If we got him, this video would be absolutely obliterated. But I'm going to presume we didn't. And finally, the fourth presumption right here next to me now is that City do sign Koulibaly and a player I personally want. And I've got a dream because it's a Dream 11, Houssem, Aouar. I'm going to talk about why all those players would be very useful for Manchester City and where they could fit. So they're the presumptions that this is built on. And finally, the biggest caveat at the bottom here, this is not my preferred 11. This is just a bunch of players at all times in positions. You can put anyone in those roles. I'm naturally going to put some in different positions. So looking at you, Mahrez fans, I don't hate Mahrez. Looking at you, Gundogan fans, I don't hate Gundogan. Looking at you, Gabriel Jesus fans, I don't prefer Aguero necessarily. I'm just going to say it's going to change and chop around as it happens. Anyway, firstly, we're going to start with an all signings kind of 11. So imagine a situation where Manchester City have signed all these players that we just mentioned. What could it look like? And it's tough to fit them in. I've really tried, but I've given it a go anyway. Here we've got a 3-4-3 kind of scenario. As you can see now next to me, obviously it includes Ederson in goal, with one of these signings actually being the return of Zach Steffen in goal. Zach Steffen would be the backup to Ederson, which is interesting. And then I think, how do you get Ake and Koulibaly in? You've got to play three at the back alongside Laporte. So you've got Ake playing left centre-back, Laporte in the middle. Ake's pace really good at covering that channel, allowing the left wing-backs to get really far forward. And then Koulibaly on the right there. I know he played left centre-back for Napoli, but he's supported by other players around him, and he'd be perfectly good there. So you got those three centre-backs with two new signings, Ake, Koulibaly alongside Laporte. For the sake of this video, I'm going to presume Angelino comes back. It could be many there, of course, but I'm going to put Angelino there because it looks spicy and different then. So Angelino's there. He's the new signing, and Angelino has proven himself as a fantastic left wing-back for RB Leipzig. That plays to his strengths perfectly, especially considering in this season we're going to play inverted wingers. So we've got basically Angelino, left wing back, right wing back. It has to be Cancelo, in my personal opinion, if we're playing as wing backs, because Walker's fantastic, but Cancelo is a proper wing back. So what you've got there already is you've got industry and pace in that side. And then I'm going to go for a really dynamic midfield too of KDB. Obviously, it has to be Kevin De Bruyne doing that box-to-box role that he's developed as he's got older, and Houssem Aouar basically drifting around midfield, being elegant, being considered, being that complete little midfielder companion. I know it could be Rodri as well. It could be Gundogan. It could be Bernardo. It could be Foden. You choose who you want there. But I'm going to say this for the sake of that. It's a way to fit in all the signings in this video. And then I'm going to put Ferran Torres on the left cutting in. That's the other final signing. On the right cutting in, I'm going to put Riyad Mahrez. It could be Phil Foden or Bernardo Silva as well. I know there's no Sterling there, but it's just for the sake of this video, saying having inverted wingers with full-backs that can overlap, and that's what I'm going to do. Torres I just wanted to put on the left to cut in, so hence why Sterling's not there. And then through the middle, Sergio Aguero. So that's your all signings 11. You've got Ake in there, Koulibaly in there, you've got Angelino returning, you've got Houssem Aouar and Ferran Torres. And it kind of looks fun, there's lots of energy there. And also, there's loads of variations how you could possibly play that formation. In terms of the all squad setting, this is where it gets very, very complicated. For this, I've gone back to your usual Manchester City 4-3-3 kind of shape, where you've got the one holding midfielder and then the two kind of false eights sitting ahead of them. But that could easily be a 4-2-3-1 if you want to. But for this is the all squad situation right there. So you've got Ederson in goal, Zach Steffen obviously being the backup, because the rumours are that he's coming back to be number 2. And then, of course, you've got the legendary, the GOAT, the one and only Scott Carson as the first choice goalkeeper. And this is where it gets very interesting. Left back, of course, you've got Mendy and Angelino. Once again, we're working on the principle that maybe Zinchenko is gone at this point. You've got a decent squad depth there. I want Angelino to come back. I just think he's proved himself. I think he needs a run of games. And I think he's going to play 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 next season. He'd be perfect for that position. Then you've got Laporte with the backup being Ake, which is fantastic squad depth. Don't forget as well that Nathan Ake can play on the left side of defence too. Then you've got the centre-backs on the right side as Koulibaly and John Stones. Stones, I reckon, is the perfect choice to stay around if Eric Garcia leaves. I personally would rather have John Stones anyway. People think I don't like Stones, which is nonsense. I'm just disappointed by him. I think he could be so much better than he actually is, but for whatever reason, be it injuries, which are not necessarily his own fault, but he still makes it frustrating, and also focus. I feel like he does like a little bit of focus. But Koulibaly with Stones is possibly like the best backup you could have, really. I mean, as a fourth choice centre-back, Stones is so high level. That's once again presuming that Otamendi goes and Garcia, and Adebayo unfortunately goes out on loan in this world that I'm currently living in. Right back, it has to be Kyle Walker with Cancelo supporting. If we're playing it 4 at the back, Walker is the obvious option at that point. In terms of holding midfield options, you've then got Rodri. You've got Gundogan, you've got Fernandinho. Fernandinho looks like a kind of odd one out in this situation, but you've got him there. And also then in midfield, you've got Houssem Aouar, you've got Bernardo who can play there, you've got KDB, of course, you've got Phil Foden. That's a really stacked midfield, but it's going to be so many games next season. It's going to be so compressed this season that would make an awful lot of sense for me. Over on the left, you've got Raheem Sterling with Torres as the backup. Bear in mind, Torres can play on either side as well. And you've got Mahrez on the right. Put Gabriel Jesus there just for a little bit of variety. Gabriel Jesus and Aguero. Don't forget as well, Phil Foden can play on the right. Torres can play on the right. Foden or Bernardo can both kind of switch around the wings a little bit. Maybe Fernandinho will be a backup centre-back. And then you've got the youth lads, which I've not got into, but that'll be a video for another day. So the squad looks packed. It looks energetic and it looks refreshed if we get all those players. I like it. In terms of how we can play next season, here's a 4-2-3-1 kind of setup. You've got Ederson in goal. Obviously Ederson in goal. Then you've got Mendy, Walker as fullbacks. Then you've got Laporte and Koulibaly carrying on from the previous slide, so to speak. And then you've got Rodri holding there. You could even have Houssem Aouar holding there, which would be very interesting. The idea of Aouar kind of being this number 6 to kind of pick the ball up. Basically Gundogan with a little bit more energy. That's why I really like Aouar. He's so intelligent. He's so calm on the ball. He can slow the pace of the game down. But he's also a little bit more aggressive and more comfortable in the press than Gundogan. He reminds me a little bit of a young Gundogan, the one that we thought he was signing from Dortmund. Don't get me wrong, Gundogan's a good player, but Aouar, I think, has a much higher ceiling and could be more useful in this team. But in this instance, I've put Houssem Aouar alongside Rodri in that double pivot kind of situation. That's really good. It gives us a balance. You've got Rodri's defensive capabilities and his strength with Houssem Aouar's energy alongside him. Wow, that's the worst pronunciation ever. Then ahead of them, obviously, it has to be Kevin De Bruyne as that man linking up with the wingers and the striker. Out wide, you've got Ferran, Torres and Mahrez. That could easily be Sterling in either position as well. Don't forget, it's going to switch up an awful lot. And then you've got Aguero through the middle. That 4-2-3-1 suddenly, though, is full of energy, isn't it? Maybe it would be Sterling out on the right, I reckon, because Kyle Walker isn't actually going to push forward that much, given the fact that he's not the most natural attacking fullback. So I think for the width purposes, it probably would be Sterling and not Riyad Mahrez, actually. So right now on the screen, I've changed that around. So it'd be Sterling on the right, Torres on the left cutting in with Mendy overlapping, Walker coming into midfield to sit alongside Rodri or Aouar every now and then holding the midfield with Sterling providing the width and KDB supporting him on that side. It'd be nice to see Sterling back on the right, wouldn't it? In terms of the next option, we've got the classic 4-3-3 or the false 8 system that Guardiola made famous a couple of of years ago at Manchester City. Once again, that back four is very similar. You've got Laporte there, Koulibaly, Mendy. Could it be Angelino? Could be Angelino. You've got Walker at the back and Ederson in goal. None of these formations, unfortunately, have Scott Carson in. I know you're devastated to hear that, but that's the world we're living in, and you're going to have to deal with it, unfortunately. Carson, your time will come, my friend. Then you've got holding midfield of Rodri there. Once again, that could be Houssem Aouar, but in this situation, I've got Aouar sitting a little bit further ahead, kind of playing that role that David Silva did so well. Aouar is so good at that Spanish thing that they call pausa, which is the ability to slow the game down, feel like you've got all the time in the world and pick the right pass. We've got plenty of impact midfielders in terms of Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, but what we do need, and this is why I really like the idea of Aouar coming in, is someone who can slow the game down and control it. The double threat of De Bruyne and David Silva was just so perfectly balanced, and Aouar could provide that and bring that energy and that press back that David Silva had a couple of years ago before his legs went. Then after that on the wings, you've got once again Mahrez and Sterling with Gabriel Jesus for in the middle. Once again, Torres could be in that side at any point, over on the right maybe, or over on the left, with Bernardo maybe on the right or Foden on the right. It looks pretty good though, doesn't it? It's a good system, and immediately looks a lot more youthful for me. This is where we get into the three in the back territory, which I reckon we'll see an awful lot more of this season now we've got the personnel to do it. What I like about this situation is that, once again, it allows us to pack a team full of energy and pace. So you've got basically Ederson once again in goal. That back three, I love the pace in that. I love the physicality. Ake's height isn't perfect, but what Ake does have is pace to cover those channels. And if you've got wing-backs, once again, bombing forward, Ake is just so good on that left side. He's also played left-back in his career, so naturally for him, as a former left back with his technical ability and his pace down the channels, he would be so good there. So Ake at left centre back with Laporte in the middle and Koulibaly right centre back. He could cover the right channel as well very well. We've seen him do that against Manchester City up in close in person. That would be a wonderful defence, and that would allow Angelino, if he returns, to bomb forward and show what he can do, what he's done so far at RB Leipzig. I really like the idea of coming, and once again, going back to what I said at the start of the video, if we're playing wing-backs, it has to be Joao Cancelo for me. Cancelo is perfect there. And I want a two-man midfield then of Houssem Aouar and KDB. I mean, that's just perfect. Once again, you've got the balance. Both can cover a little bit. You've got basically the wing backs who can make it basically a four-man midfield there, and then you've got the inverted wingers pushing forward. You've got Sterling cutting in, you've got Mahrez cutting in, or you've got Torres cutting in, or you've got Phil Foden cutting in, which is so beautiful, or Bernardo cutting in. Though ideally for me, Bernardo would be as an alternative to Houssem Aouar potentially. Then you've got Gabriel Jesus with his energy up top, and Sergio Aguero as a potential alternative as well. Alternative, you know what I'm saying? He could start there definitely. I really like that formation. I don't know, something about it seems very interesting. And I can imagine a scenario where you've got Ake supporting the midfield. Ake could easily step ahead of Laporte. Laporte could go a little bit wider, and all of a sudden you've got like a 3-3-2-1 basically. So you've got Ake stepping into midfield, given his technical ability. It would work very well with Ake sweeping up just behind Houssem Aouar and Kevin De Bruyne. Finally, we've gone for a 3-5-2 here as another alternative with all the signings that City could have made. We've got Ederson once again in goal. That same back three of Ake, Laporte and Koulibaly with loads of pace and loads of organisation and loads of leadership and guts as well, which I really like. Then I've gone for Mendy just to spice it up a little bit. Cancelo once again at right wing back. And then I've gone for a more kind of conservative midfield with Houssem Aouar or Bernardo. So basically the reason I've chosen them is they're both very technical, both very dynamic, and they've both basically got loads of energy to help in the press alongside Rodri. It could be Gundogan there, of course, as well, but I would personally rather go for Rodri and give him time to settle into the team. So you've got Aouar and Rodri, or Bernardo and Gundogan. They're the kind of like the two kind of pivots, basically. Then you've got Kevin De Bruyne ahead that. And I've got a little bit mad here, basically. What I've done is Phil Foden playing just off Sergio Aguero. It could be Mahrez. It could be Sterling. But if something tells me that Phil Foden would be very good at that, maybe Bernardo would, maybe Mahrez. But I really like the idea of Phil Foden being behind Aguero, playing those free balls to him, or maybe Gabriel Jesus. I've gone for Aguero, though, because I've got a feeling he's more inclined to getting behind and make those runs that Foden or De Bruyne could find. And bear in mind, Mendy and Cancelo or Angelino, Cancelo or Walker will be pushed right up there. So all of a sudden you've got basically, they're almost like really high far. It's almost like four at top, basically. I'd imagine those two would be hugging the touchlines. So that's what I've gone for, guys. Once again, I'm sure you'll disagree with my individual lineups in those formations. I don't really care, if I'm being honest. These are just a bunch of variations of how City could line up. And I would absolutely be delighted with that squad. Of course, we'll miss Leroy Sané and David Silva. But the energy that this squad will bring to Manchester City would be transformational in a very, very big degree. I also like the idea of playing wing-backs every every now and then because he lets us get the best out of what Mendy and Cancelo could bring, and maybe Angelino as well if he comes back. And maybe every now and then, if we're playing free at the back, we could see Kyle Walker as a right centre-back where he has the pace to cover the channels. When you're playing free at the back, you tend to be a little bit more towards the full-back position, which Walker has plenty of experience in. So that would make a lot of sense for me as well. Guys, what do you make of that? What do you make of that potential dream squad? What do you make of the potential lineups? Which is your preferred kind of lineup? Hopefully you enjoyed that. Watch Manchester City not sign Houssem or Koulibaly now I made this video, but I would like them because I think the variety and options that they could bring to the team would be absolutely fantastic. I've got no doubt we're going to look back at this in a few years and go, what was he on about? None of that happened. But that is the wonderful world of football. But I enjoyed making the video anyway. Thank you to all these people scrolling alongside me right now. These are my patrons who help keep this channel going and help me keep creating all this full-time content for you guys. Thank you so much. You're all absolute heroes. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Give this video a like. Go and check out the other content on screen right now. Go follow me on twitch.tv/Esteemed Kompany for some video game goodness. Anyway, love you all. Bye-bye.